Hey friends, thought I'd hop on real quick and do our daily spread for today. It's the 7th of June, 2020. Hope everyone's doing good out there. I feel movement today. The last final pregnant pause before a big movement. Is anybody else feeling that? Let's see what the cards have to say. It's a beautiful day outside here. One. Two. It feels like the fever broke. That's what I just heard. The fever broke. One more card, please. One more card. For everyone watching, for myself, June 7th, 2020. All right, let's see what's up. All right, in the recent past, the energy we're moving away from is the Pope. A new card. Haven't seen this one. This is Major Arcanum 5. And the Pope is a teacher. So major arcanums we really pay attention to. There's 22 in the tarot and then 56 minor. So when you draw a major, that's something you really want to look at. And the number 5 is an odd energy. So that again means masculine active energy, movement. And 5 represents conflict, change, and expansion. Don't know how conflict, change, and expansion really relates to the Pope. Expansion is a big one here because the Pope has risen his consciousness to the upper half of the card. He's done some work. He has a lot of knowledge coming through the crown chakra, and you can just see cosmic energy being funneled in, spiritual energy being funneled on both sides of him through the light blue. And he has the light blue and the white stripes behind his head, so that's spiritual purity. Same with his hair. His hair is white. White resembles purity. And he speaks spiritual truth because his beard is light blue. He has some rebirth, a green right around the throat chakra. So that's learning to disseminate knowledge. That's finally taking everything that you've learned and realizing that you're playing your role in helping others to grow spiritually by teaching. The Pope is a teacher. You can see the two lower figures, and you see that holy trinity of the triangle that pops up so often in the cards. And these two figures, they represent the dualistic thinking of mankind. And they want information. There's so much light blue down here, but they're still childish. They're not as advanced as the Pope is. They're coming to him for guidance. They're seeking wisdom from him. But they're still playing with their childish toys. This guy has taken off his yellow hat, which means he's ready to let go of preconceived mental constructs. So he's open. He has an open mind. They're open to listen to what the Pope has to say. Their crown chakras are red, root color red. They're activated, but they're at the very, very bottom of the spine. Not the dark blue vortex that we see in Judgment, where the crown chakra is very intuitive and open. So these are fresh minds that are placed in your life, coming to you for information, and you are able to disseminate it. Because, of course, when you help someone else, you're really helping yourself at the same time, because we're all part of, all that is, the one, unity. So this symbolizes the 3 back into the 1 in the unity. And the Pope, who has all of this active red energy, on the inside there's that feminine principle, which is the reception. And you can even see he's holding on to this yellow antenna. And he touches it with his light blue spiritual glove. And he points across his heart at where he gets his information. So even though he speaks it, he doesn't necessarily, there's no egoic need to claim ownership of his teachings. Not like nefarious religious leaders who preach egoically, but this is real spiritual truth. And he gives credit. He's pointing right over his heart at how he gets the knowledge that he gets, which is by tapping in to cosmic knowledge by putting on his spiritual glove. And then he's able to teach that to these figures on the bottom half of the card. So it's time to share what you got. Or recently you've been sharing, you've been learning how to share what you have, the knowledge that you're in touch with, in a selfless, higher-minded, unity conscious perspective. You're learning how to share wisdom with those who come to you. And remember, it's not about going out and preaching. It's about these people being put in your life that need your guidance at that moment, and you're able to give it to them. And you're listening to how to help humanity grow by sharing what you've learned with those who need it at the right time, trusting that the divine force is putting you guys together at the right time. I hope that makes sense. All right, so we're moving away from the Pope, and in the present moment, we're in this Eight of Cups energy. 8 is that number of infinity, of flow, balancing between the masculine and feminine. And 8 is an even number. So even though it has a feminine energy, in numerology, the number 8 stands for action, change, and regeneration. So I always think of the phrase receptive action when I see the number 8. And that means instead of reacting to things and kind of falling back into old patterns, we've grown to the point where when something comes up, either we get triggered or a challenge is presented. The cups would mean an emotional challenge, right? Cups being the water sign is your emotional life. So the number 8 stands for, instead of just reacting, you've learned to go still and go within and listen for guidance, to receive the information that will lead you to the correct action. So receptive action, that's what the number 8 means to me. And that's illustrated at the heart chakra of the card. The spine of the card represents our spine. And right in the middle of it, the middle chakra is the heart chakra. And there's a small red dot, which resembles masculine action, but it's far outweighed by the blues, the light blue and the dark blue swirling around it. Even the leaves are kind of turning. That means that open spinning heart chakra. Our chakras are supposed to spin when we're aligned, when they're not blocked. And there's a small amount of action, but mainly it's spiritual receptivity around that red dot, which is the center and the vortex of this card. There's the Holy Trinity of 3 cups in the sky, and that's reflected in balance with the Holy Trinity on the ground. So that's receiving love from divine and giving it back to the world around you in balance in the Holy Trinity of 3. Now, the 2 cups in the middle, those 2 cups are right around the heart, and that represents self-love to me. So there's a balance in self-love coming here, and all these beautiful spiritual intuitive flowers blooming around it. So this could be a heart chakra activation. This is learning to love yourself a bit more, and receiving what you need to take action in your emotional life. That can have to do with relationships. It can have to do with family, home and family. And there's, I haven't figured this out yet. This is one of the things of the Marseille Tarot. You can see the colors of red and orange have been swapped on these 2 cups. Now the red little this part of the cup, I don't know what to call it, is red, which is on the active side of the card, which also represents red. I don't know what that means. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it will reveal itself at some point. But this is not an error. This is one of those little details of the minor arcanum that you just notice, and it's that encoded wisdom within the cards. And we have all this orange in the cups, and orange represents fulfillment, emotional fulfillment, because I say this over and over again, but it's putting logic, which is represented by the color yellow, logic, intellect, and idea into action, masculine red. When you fuse the red and the yellow, you get orange. So you're embodying that knowledge and living that knowledge and putting it into action, which provides fulfillment. That could very well come, there's some emotional fulfillment coming from assuming your role as a teacher, being in service as a teacher, helping people with what you've gone through and what you've learned. And that could be providing this emotional fulfillment, this receptive action. Perhaps this is even growing. Maybe the role of the Pope is expanding with the Eight of Cups, and there's something bigger. I feel something huge right around the corner. It's like it's already here. We just can't see it. But I feel it. I feel this thing. It's like it's arrived. It's filtering down to the third dimension, but the arrival is already here. That's just what I feel. So 5, Pope moving into Eight of Cups, and what's coming is this balancing of the mental energies. Balance of mental energies. 2 of Swords. The number 2 represents balance, duality, and partnership, and swords are the air sign. Logic, intellect, and idea. So this could be a cognitive dissonance that is finally unified. There's purity in the middle of the card. There's a pure heart, which leads to this mental integration. This could be a long-time mental pattern, something that keeps hanging you up somehow, that is finally unified. And there's this yellow and red in the 4 fixed directions, the 4 main directions, logic being put into action, and then the 4 secondary directions are spiritual flowers surrounding this white dot of purity. And what's growing out of that center in this 2 of Swords card is active veins leading to spiritual knowledge. So there's more learning coming. And it's this unified way of thinking, this pruning of a mental pattern that expands your knowledge. You're ready for the next bite, right? Dolores Cannon always says that they spoon feed us. They give us a bit and they're like, digest that and then we'll come back for more. So maybe we're about ready to take a new bite of spiritual knowledge. So that's our daily spread for today, June 6th. I like it. How can you be of service to people and be on the lookout for people who come to you? And how can you selflessly, with love, offer guidance to them in a helpful way, to people who really need it and want it and are coming to you and they're showing up? 8 of Cups, receptive action in emotional life, expanding your self-love, your heart, staying in balance with how you receive love from divine and give it back. And they're spiritually protected around the heart. And then melding a dualistic thought pattern with a pure heart and growing ourselves. Maybe there's a new book that's you're going to see popping up all over, or someone's going to make a recommendation that you hear, a few times from different sources. So just, little hints and symbols of what to learn next, because there's some spiritual growth that wants to come in, more knowledge. All right, that's what I get. I hope that's helpful to you. Love you all, and I'll be back tomorrow.